I'm Chris. Uh, I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how I came across Crossroads Clinic. Uh, I grew up in South Carolina. I was raised by my great grandparents, and uh, you know, as I got older, you know, I had a good childhood. But as I got older, things like drugs and alcohol came into effect and just totally just changed everything about my life. I mean, starting with high school, drinking and smoking marijuana after class or during class sometimes, and that only progressed because drugs and alcohol was looked at as a reward. You know, they would give it to us for scoring touchdowns in a football game, different things like that, and it was never the same after that because it just totally changed my view of life and it changed my motivation and everything. So around 19 is when I got involved with drugs like cocaine, and I was still drinking and smoking marijuana and whatnot, and I decided to go to college. Well, all through college, I graduated, had a degree and whatnot, but I'm still engaging in the same behaviors, the same pattern, the same skewed thinking. And you know, I would stop for a little while. I'd say, that's it, I'm done, I'm through. And, before you know it, I was right back at it again and whatnot. I started working, still doing the same thing. And I got into heroin and cocaine still. And then I started using IV drugs, which was a totally different thing. Once I went there, it almost felt like there was no turning back because if by any chance, I felt like, what's the use in stopping? I've made it this far. So I moved to Atlanta, and I had a great job. I was traveling the country, but I was still using. I was still using. And on a daily basis, I had to use to get up. I had to use just to eat in the mornings. I had to use to go to work. And, eventually luck runs out with these sort of things. I couldn't hold down jobs. I could not manage my life because of addiction. And it took me a while before I decided that I was going to go look for services that would help change my life. And while in Atlanta, I was homeless for a while. And, during me being homeless, I'd slept sofa surfing. I slept in my vehicle, motel to motel. A couple of times I got caught outside in the cold, and I stayed at homeless shelters as well. And that's not the life that I wanted, because I knew that there's so much more out there for me because I've done good things in my life, but it's always been overshadowed by drugs and alcohol. And after a while, I moved to the West, came to Cheyenne, and got a job, and I was still drinking. I wasn't using drugs, so in my mind, I figured, that's okay. Everybody drinks, everybody doesn't drink, and some people that do drink can have one or two. I can't do that. I go way beyond. So I came to Cheyenne. As I'm working, I slowly start getting back into the drug use, slowly. And for me, slowly was, once every couple of days. And the drug switched from heroin and cocaine to meth. And I'd experimented with meth, and I've been doing meth for a while when I was in Atlanta, Georgia. But here, the moment I touched it, everything changed. Everything. I lost my apartment. I lost my job. I lost my vehicle. I lost everything. You name it. I have no family around. There was nothing left for me. So I had two things. I had an ID and a cell phone. And I Googled an NA meeting, and my truck had just got taken that day. And come to find out, there was a meeting. It was a 5-minute walk from my house. It's like, okay, all right, God, something's going on. It's too coincidental just for it to be just blind luck. And I got a sponsor. My sponsor was like, there's this place that can help you. So it's like, take me there. So I went to detox in this facility. And I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. So I'm slowly talking myself into this whole getting help thing, because, to me, if I can't do it, why do it? But I I, I realized really soon after that, very soon after that, that I can't do it alone, that I need a support system. So I decided to go into treatment. Now, having no insurance, having no money, and having no friends, no family, I only had one option, and that was, find a place that would help me. And I needed something like a physical, a TB test, and things like that, just to get me into this treatment center. I'm freaking out. I have no clue how I'm gonna do all this. I'm still caught up in addiction, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. And one of the counselors says, Crossroads. Something that surprised me is my first visit there. The practitioner, Jennifer, sat down with me and spent over an hour making sure that I was okay. And being homeless, we don't get that a lot. We get Band-Aids. I mean, anytime I pick up the phone and I call, the phone is answered within business hours. You guys be reasonable, okay? Okay. And if I leave a message, my call is returned. Even if you're not homeless, you rarely get that, so promptly. It's amazing. And, I'd just like to thank the staff here and everyone who made this possible. It's amazing. Thank you. That's really all I got to say right now.